All right, welcome back to Third Man In. I'm Zack Phillips. In tonight's video, we're going to be breaking down game number 20 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, defeating the Florida Panthers here tonight in a shootout in what was a very, very interesting win, considering the fact that the Leafs actually left the ice, the fans left the building, and then they were called back out, had to come back in, fill the benches back up, and then Noah Gregor finishes it off and wins this one for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Very, very interesting game here tonight. Very interesting way for this one to play out. So exciting all around. We'll break it all down and break down what happened, what led to this win for this Leafs team here tonight. We'll get to the chat because I'm seeing a lot of people in agreement with a lot of things that I'm thinking coming out of this game or coming away from this game. A lot of people thinking some of the stuff that might apply to this team moving forward. So we'll break all of that down throughout the course of the stream here tonight as well. If people do want to call in, as always, please feel free to send a message, whether it's to me on Twitter at Zack Phillips, ZackPhill, on Instagram at Zack Phillips. So you can search it up on there, or if you're or if you have Discord and you have me as a friend on Discord, you can send me a message that way as well. As whatever way works best for you to get a hold of me. If you want to call into the stream here tonight, please feel free to reach out, send me a message, and we'll get you the link over so that people can call in here tonight and give their thoughts on this game and this Leafs win, because happy to hear from people, hear how they're feeling after a Leafs win that was, I mean, let's be honest, let's get into it. It didn't start off that great for this team. It was a really, really ugly first period in what should not have been. And I know that we're going to have people in the chat who are going to be regular season lovers, and that's what they're happy with, and they don't care about whether or not a team wins a Stanley Cup or if they play to the caliber of teams who win Stanley Cups. I know that, but I think for the vast majority of the people watching these games, you're expecting a Stanley Cup caliber team to compete on the ice every night, and you're expecting that kind of effort, and that's not what you got to start this game. You come off a weekend where you go 0-2 against two inferior opponents. You blow a 3-1 lead to the Chicago Blackhawks. You blow a lead to the Pittsburgh Penguins on Saturday night. Those are both lesser teams, both teams you should beat, and both teams that when you're beating them, you should be able to close out, and you lose both. Then you come into this game here tonight against the Panthers where obviously it's not, you're expected to win this one like you would be against a Pittsburgh, Arizona, Chicago, Columbus, etc., especially considering it's a team that you actually did lose to and were knocked out of the playoffs by last season. But the expectation in this game is a full, complete effort. And you watch this team in the first period, and I think for a lot of us, you're going to be happy with the pushback, the way that they played in the second period, the way that they played in the third period, leading them to actually win this game here tonight. But you got lucky on a lot of accounts, and one of which being the fact that one double tapped off of Evan Rodriguez to go in the back of the net past Joseph Woll. So you can take that. You can be happy with that win. I understand that. But the start of this game is one of the many reasons that people are going to have a takeaway from this team, that this is an unserious team and not a team fit or built character-wise to win a Stanley Cup. All you had to do tonight was at least show up in the first period. I agree that this is one that you want to see walking away with a win. I agree. But this is not one that I sit here and say, well, you should win this game from an expectation standpoint because this Florida Panthers team isn't very good. No, that's wrong. They're a pretty good team. They've been rolling this year. It seems like they found their groove. They know their identity. They're getting the goaltending. Like, everything is kind of going right for Florida here. And a lot of that is driven by their level of play and how they play. They're coming off a back-to-back, off an emotional back-to-back with a lot of fighting, a lot of intensity the other night in Ottawa. You come into Toronto, and the least the Leafs could have done was show up from the opening puck drop, and they just didn't. For the first 20 minutes, the entire pace of play was taken to them by Florida. There was a crazy stat that was sent to me. Shout out Josh Cooper, Jason's brother, actually. He sent it over to me. I was sitting there like, yeah, you could see it. It was shocking to hear, but Florida their shot attempts when Matthews was on the ice in the first period was 15-0. It was 15-0. Like, that first period was abysmal. You obviously lose Marner for a period of time there, but there's a lot going on in this that is just making it a little bit concerning. First and foremost, I think Nylander, Matthews, Marner, Tavares, they're a little bit tired. They're getting absolutely bombarded with minutes out there by Keefe. I think he's overplaying the top two lines, which is a little bit concerning through the first 20 games. You could see a little bit of wear and tear on them. Nylander looks tired with his level of play, and it took him a little bit to get going into this one. And then Marner goes to the locker room, and you're sitting there feeling like, wow, we're going to be in a position where these guys are going to have to go double, triple shifts to get through this one. And there was just no jump from the team. It felt like there was no jump to get this game going. That was where there's like the concern came for me. I'm watching this team going, how can you open this up with no effort, no intensity, no energy? That's frustrating. That's frustrating to see. I think that one thing that we can take away is, yeah, you bounce back, you battle back, you pushed away in the second, pushed away in the third. I know that you can only play the opponent that's put up in front of you, the opponent on the other side. We do have to remember that Florida basically just hung in there with them the entire way, and that's an exhausted team on the other side who's coming off a tough win last night against the Senators where they had to battle physically throughout the entire game. Like, the entire third period was fights, hits, net front battles, scraps, scrums. Like, it was tough. Now, to watch them in the second and third not be able to flip it around and take it to Florida where they were the tired team, again, it's like a little discouraging from this team. It makes you feel like, how can you sit here and genuinely think that this team is or could be a cup contender? I do want to read some of the chat here. I give a little spiel. I'll continue to read the chat, give my thoughts, my opinions on where this team is at from my opinion, especially as I read through the chat, answer some of the questions. But yeah, let's get to it here. Duke, first and foremost, another too many men. I will say this. For the too many men penalty that was called there is a lot of confusion from the bench there. Clearly, it was a shitty change. Nylander is going to the bench. Bertuzzi starts coming over. The only reason that one actually should have been allowed is because JT comes and Bertuzzi goes. They kind of got lucky that two guys didn't jump the boards to come out for them when that happened. But nonetheless, you got away with that one there. The thing is, or you get away with almost like having too many extra, I guess, at that point. But like, this bench and how they handle things is insane. There are so many too many men penalties that come from this bench. I believe that's 9 now on the season. Like, it's a league lead to have this happen, to have this many bench minors. It's pathetic. It is genuinely pathetic. I don't know if it's a lack of awareness from the players on the bench. I don't know if it's a lack of communication from the coaches, a lack of communication with the players, but whatever it is, it's got to be fixed. It felt like it was a problem last year. Every stream we were coming on to, we were sitting here saying, wow, this is like, again, this is happening. And here we are to start this season. You're almost sitting at a 50% clip on the bench minors. Like, this is outrageous for this to be happening. And in this spot, yet again, you're looking here going, power play opportunity, too many men. Wiped. Outrageous. Outrageous. Bennett, I'm considering giving up on this Leafs team 2 years ago. All right, well, Ben, I mean, fair enough, but you're still here, so I'm not giving up on them, but I'm just going to say, truthfully, like, as they are right now, this team's not winning a Stanley Cup. This team, the way that they play on a nightly basis, the lack of consistency, anything like that, it's not there. This team, as it is, cannot and will not win the Stanley Cup. Super chat here. Super chat from Jeff McKay. Jeff, thank you for the super chat. Jeff says, who do you blame for our too many men penalties? Because this is an issue the last 3 seasons. Agreed. I think it first and foremost starts from the coaching staff, and it starts from them in their communication of who's going next, who's taking who. And then I also think it takes a level of awareness from the guys on the ice to recognize who's coming and when they have to go. It's just like a responsibility thing, but it is very clearly a top-down thing, because the way that the bench goes, it's like all of a sudden 3 years in here now, you can't figure out who's going when or what's up. Like, that is a clear communication issue that's happening, leading you to have these mistakes, have these errors, because when guys are going on at the wrong time, a lot of times it's, oh, I'm going, no, I'm not going, you're going, go now. Oh, too many men. The wrong guy's gone at the wrong time. Then it's also kind of trickles down to the players, where it's probably somewhere between like 60-40 to 65-35 kind of thing, where it's like the coaches miscommunication, but then the players have to have that level of responsibility, because guess what? You are NHL players. You are professional hockey players. Dial it in. Like, have some awareness of who you're taking when you're taking them, and then don't touch pucks when you go out on the ice and you immediately jump out. But I would say that the majority of the blame comes from the coaching staff running the bench, because, I don't know, it's like the other option here is to just kind of assume that the players are idiots, and they might be, but my solution is that nobody's idiots. They're just struggling with poor communication skills from the top down. Phenom. Or Taylor Osler, yeah, the fuck, yep, fair enough. Phenom, well, that was a normal ending to a hockey game. Leafs win, yeah, strange ending for sure. Reginald, like I said, Gregor needs more ice time. Look, Noah Gregor has been really good so far this year. I think that his competitiveness, his drive every time he's on the ice, his speed is there. Doesn't need more ice time, though. He's a fourth-line player. Well, I would counter it with this, though. Doesn't need more ice time in regards to, third, he should be playing third or second line or first lines or anything like that. But what I would say is the first 2 lines should not have the amount of ice time that they do have, and it should be delegated to the third and fourth lines a little more to give them a little bit more of an opportunity to go out on the ice. So if that's kind of the takeaway, then sure. But in terms of like him specifically being pushed up to a line where he can take more minutes, no, I would disagree there. We'll continue reading chat here. There's a lot of stuff going on. Reginald, it's nice to see Matthews wake up in the third. It hasn't just been Marner playing not to his potential. I would agree with that. I think that part of it was definitely that Marner was really not there for those couple games, because we were even seeing from Matthews where he was having these dominant moments where he looked dangerous every time he stepped out on the ice, and yet it just kind of wasn't following through. Sometimes it felt like it was like just him and Nyes creating stuff, so I do think that, but he definitely does deserve some of the blame, because now I believe it's through 8 games he hasn't scored, or he scored 1 goal through his last 8 games. That's the first time that this has happened in a very long time for him. He's been a very consistent goal scorer throughout his career. He's going through a big drought here tonight. It continues. Had some opportunities. I think mostly he started to come to life at the end of the second, into the third period there. So that's kind of nice to see that comes. But again, it's partially on him. It's partially this team. But I do think that this is where a lot of the issues stem from. Was Matthews ready to play at the beginning of the night here tonight? It did not feel like it. He starts late. What's the theme with this team here? They started late. This happens a lot. Now, it's not always Matthews. Sometimes he's going from the jump and the rest of the guys aren't. Whether it be Marner, Nylander, Tavares, whoever of those group. But if they're not all going, it feels like they lead from the front where, hey, we're not into this one here tonight. We're not going. We don't have the jump. Now, the rest of the team just doesn't have that energy behind them. The rest of the team doesn't have those legs going with them as well. You kind of got to have those guys ready to go. You're paid 13, 11, $10.9 million. You should be ready to go every single night from the drop of the puck. That is your job. You need to be ready to go right from the very beginning. Phenom, JT looking very slow these days. I hope he's not dealing with an injury. I don't think he is. I think he's just slow. Debo, piss poor effort tonight. I think the first period was really egregious. After that, I think it picked up. I still don't think it was good enough, if that's fair, but it definitely picked up after. But the first period, 100%, very, very, very poor effort from this team as a whole. Very, very poor effort. And there's no way to kind of even justify that one or get around it, because this is an opportunity at home. You played Saturday, you've got Sunday, Monday, you're here playing Tuesday night, you've got a couple of days, you've been in your own beds, you've been in your own barns, like, you're at home, ready to go. You should be in a position where you can come out flying right from the jump. For there not to be the effort from the get-go, pathetic. If you guys are watching right now and you haven't already, please hit that like button. Oh, frozen. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you get notified every single time we go live here on this channel, whether it's live watch-alongs, live post-games, or videos that come out breaking down things that are happening with the team, news, rumors, reactions, trades, injuries, anything like that. I'll be breaking it down here, so you're not going to want to miss any of it. Turn on notifications. Subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate all the support that you guys continue to give, but hitting that like button does help go a long way, because it brings more people into these live streams while we are live post games, which makes more subscribers, which obviously continues to grow the channel back. And we're trying to get to 1,000 here. Trying to get to 1,000. Also, by the way, I'm going to find a way to get a Discord back going again. So if you guys want to join the Third Man In Discord, we'll have that popping back up hopefully soon. Once that's built, you guys can all come into there. That's where you can send messages, talk as a community, ask me questions. And the other thing, we'll be going with we got channel memberships back here. I haven't unrolled them yet. I haven't figured out what I want to do with some of those, but we'll get some channel memberships back for people to get involved in. All the emojis, all the emotes, everything like that we had last year, we'll bring those back. All right, continue with the chat here. Oh, before I do, we do have a super chat. All right, super chat here from Joe Hill. Joe, appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. Joe says, been traveling a ton, but hey, I love a Leaf win. Hope we're all well and happy holidays. Joe, thank you very much. Do appreciate that. Appreciate the super chat. Hopefully safe travels as well. Happy holidays to you too. Do appreciate the support here. And yeah, it is nice to have a win. I'm not denying that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to win games, but I think it's a fair criticism. I think it's fair to criticize the way that the games are played, because every now and then you do have to look at process over just what happened. What was the result of the game? Because a lot of times teams can get shell-shocked, walk away with a win. You don't want to make that a norm. And you don't want to make it all that, hey, this is a frustrating thing for the team to have happen, and yet you somehow come away with a win, because if that keeps happening and you waltz your way into the playoffs, like, it can mask all these issues. 6 1/3. Zach, was there anything at all that pleased you tonight? Yes, Joseph Woll. Joseph Woll was very pleasing to watch. He looked very strong tonight. I don't think that the goal... Actually, I'm just trying to think about... I don't think that the goal was his fault at all. That's the one where Nylander gets knocked off the puck in the corner. Should be stronger on his feet, I think, there. Loses it. Puck comes back out. Wide open in front. You're looking at this team. They're not around. You've got Florida outnumbering Leafs players in front of their own net in their own zone. They bang away at the puck. Rebound comes back out. Guy's able to bury it. Joseph Woll, he played a great game here tonight, and he was the reason that this team had an opportunity to win, because the way that they started in this first period, and on top of that, coupled with the way that Florida actually started this first period, it could have been significantly worse than the 1-goal deficit that they had facing going into the third. Like, that was a situation where you could have been down 2, 3, 4 nothing and be shell-shocked in the first period, lose any slight life in the fan base that you had here on a home game on a Tuesday. Like, that's where you sit there and thank that guy for showing up tonight, because he was incredible. He was incredible. And over the last probably 5 to 6 games that he's gone into the net, he's been prone to giving up a bad goal per game. He didn't have that moment here tonight. He didn't have that weak one. He didn't have that one that just goes by and you sit there and go, fuck, I wish I had that one back. It never appeared in his game. He had a couple of moments, let's be honest. Him playing the puck is a little bit sketchy, but outside of that, really good game for Joseph Woll. So yes, that was what I was impressed with. Reginald, JT has looked faster than he ever has this season. Tonight he didn't look good at all. I think JT was fine tonight. I don't know. He didn't stand out to me as like, oh, this guy was bad. But yeah, I think he was fine. Another super chat here. Joe Hill, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Joe says, how do you feel about Keefe losing his mind on Bert? I think this is a good question. It's something we're going to get to in the show here tonight regardless at some point, because we don't see Sheldon Keefe do that. Like, that is not something that you see very often from Sheldon Keefe. I don't think that this was... I don't know. I don't think that this one was necessarily directly at Bert. I mean, I know that the video there where he did have that moment was specifically with Bert, so I understand that. But there was a couple other ones of him just screaming and losing his mind. I don't mind it. I think it's completely fair. I think that it's kind of nice to see him have that kind of jam, that kind of energy, because you rarely see that out of Sheldon Keefe. You rarely see that fire, the yelling, the screaming, and to see him have a little bit of life probably helps the rest of the team have some life in those moments too. You're basically not playing that great to start the game. Feels like you being asleep. Sheldon Keefe very clearly felt like this team was not doing the little things right. After that play, they brought it up on the broadcast, but they're talking about the fact that Keefe had identified like the puck didn't go in deep after they just scored. These are simple little things, and these are things that we get pissed off about as fans. So you come on here after and say, why was this chance created right after you scored a goal? Why was this opportunity created? Why did the puck come back the other way? Well, a lot of time it's failure to commit to doing the little things right, playing smart hockey, simple hockey. And Keefe sitting there saying, what are we doing? You were fucking asleep for 20 minutes to start the game. We're down in a hole here now in which we probably, hey, maybe you would have been in that hole anyways, but you also played like such shit in the first period that you deserve to probably be down more. So you're lucky that you're actually only down 1 here. And now you're going to come out and tie the game and give them opportunities because we can't commit to playing simple, smart hockey. We can't commit to getting pucks in deep. We can't commit to the forecheck. I think it's a little, I mean, we saw him just doing it to everybody. And I know the one clip was at Bert. I hope Bert's a guy who can take it and respond to that, because we know there's other guys on this team who clearly don't respond to that type of energy. But if you've got to get a wake-up call because guys aren't playing smart hockey the way that's going to help you win hockey games, then do it. That's what you got to do. I'm fine with it. The one condition would be this. If he tomorrow morning or after this game here tonight in one of his press conferences says anything about, I was out of line, I shouldn't have done that, I was too aggressive, whatever, this whole thing is wiped. Everything I just said, it means absolute shit, because that is going to completely reverse everything he just did in that moment. Yeah, it was nice for him to do that in the game, maybe get the boys fired up and put some energy, some life into them to say, hey, wake up, let's go here, we got a game in front of us. But you go back in the media tomorrow and you take that back, or tonight and you take that back, pathetic. That would just be pathetic, because then the next time he does it, you're like, oh, this guy's putting it on for show. I don't think that's... So that would be my caveat. If he holds off on doing that, then yeah, I like it. Otherwise, or not necessarily like it, but like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm good with it. Do want to also continue to say here, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel. I've said it multiple times, but every set of 50 likes... get the smelling salts out. That's it. That's what you guys hit the like button for. We're at 50 here on the stream, so we'll bring them out. But every 50, you get 50, 100, bring it back at 100. If you get it to 100 likes before the end of the stream here tonight, we'll bring these out. All right. Cheers, everyone. All right. I'm seeing a lot of questions about the power play, so let's address the power play here. A lot of them in regards to my thoughts on the power play, if I like it, if I dislike it. First and foremost, I like the entry now to the power play, how they go up the ice, because before my biggest frustration with them, my biggest frustration with the way that they move the puck up the ice was that I'll bring it up on the board. It's probably the easiest way to do this. I'll see if I can get this going here quickly. Yeah, there you go. Okay, my biggest frustration with this is this. The way that they attacked before, you had one of your wingers, which was usually Nylander, kind of parked at the boards over here. You had JT in the middle of the ice here. And then what would happen was Riley would come up the ice here with Matthews behind and then Marner behind. The puck would be with Riley. He would take it, drop it straight back, and then after he would do this, he would move himself over here. Matthews or Marner, whoever it was at that point in time, would then skate up in a straight attack, filling in that lane. This forward following up behind. Now, Matthews or Marner, whoever it is again, goes and drops it back here again. This is all fine and dandy if you're going to have movement throughout, but you don't. What ends up happening here, as soon as these pucks are moved, you end up, as these guys move across, with this. You have 4 Leaf players standing dead still across the blue line with one guy at center ice trying to carry the puck into the zone. When you have this happen, you also need to remember that you now end up with this. Some variation of this. Maybe these guys are in a different position. Maybe they're more scrunched into the middle. Maybe it's more straight line, whatever it is. But it's some variation of this. So as this happens now, you are hoping that this forward is going to be able to waltz his way through here somehow. And then now once he gets into here, and remember, these guys are not pylons. They can back up too. Once he gets in with the puck, he's either got to face these guys, go down the wall where he's now got minimal room, and now these guys are all covered, or he's got to chip the puck into the corner, or he's got to dish over to this winger, and either way, You have guys who are just in shitty positions here now to be able to do anything in terms of zone entry. What they do now is different in regards to having some form of spread. So you've got basically usually Willie here, you usually have JT here, and then at some point, the defenseman ends up here. But the difference with what they've done this year is that you have your forwards attack like this. So while the defense are set up in whatever positions they're going to be set up in, whichever guy has the puck typically tries to identify where he's going to have some type of zone entry. If he's going to have an option to move over to one of the wing guys on the wing, JT, Nylander, Riley, whoever is going to be there, if they're going to have a lane to skate straight through. And if not, and maybe the other guy has the opportunity, then this pass is going across there, which now shifts everyone on the ice's vision across this way. Now they've all got to look over here. They're looking at Matthews this way. Now, next thing you know, everyone's vision has to change across to this guy and focus on him coming in and shift from attacking or defending this side of the ice over here to shifting over here and now protecting this side for them to move in. So the zone entry this year, to me, has been a lot better. I've been much, much more happy with the zone entry. Now, the frustration for me on the penalty kill and what I want to have a video guy come on and talk with me about for one of these post-game things for my thoughts and see where we're at and if they agree with myself, if they agree with kind of where you guys are at. I think the problem with what we're seeing out of this first line is that, or the first unit, is that it's overthinking things. It's trying to be too fancy and make too pretty of plays and too many passes. And I get it because you're on the power play, you've got more guys, and you're trying to say, hey, we're not going to waste shots. We're not going to waste opportunities and just fire these away. You're trying to get the best shot opportunities that you can. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but what I think personally we're seeing with what the second unit is doing and why I kind of feel like they're a little bit more lethal or more dangerous than the first unit is when they go out there on these is because they're not trying to be pretty. They're not trying to make the perfect play, the perfect pass, and get into the perfect situation. They're just playing hockey, and they're just using the fact that they have one more guy on the ice than the other team to their advantage. I know that's a very dumbed down, simplistic way to put things. I get it. But the overall thought process on that is this. Sometimes it's best to just be creative and play hockey. The first unit is like, well, we've got Nylander and Matthews and Marner and Tavares and Riley and all these offensive weapons, and we got to find a way to use them perfectly and create crazy cross-seam passes and all this stuff. Watch the second unit. They're just like, pass, shot. Get the puck back if you can. Pass, shot. There's passing with purpose because they're moving it quickly. They're identifying the open guy, the open space, the open zone. And as soon as they get the puck, they're just moving it there, whether it's with their feet or moving it across with a pass, which makes the defense have to move quickly, which can get them out of position. The Leafs' first unit feels like they're not really getting the first penalty killing unit out of position by their own movement. They're hoping that the opponent just fucks up on their own at some point. They're not making them mess up. That's kind of my thought process, my breakdown of the power play. If anybody else, I do because I'm a fan. But if anybody else out there cares, Donnie Does Dishes breaking news. I don't know. We don't have a breaking news animation here, but Donnie Does Dishes letting us know that Tiger Woods announced he is coming back. Nice.
Having the time of his life.
Hopefully. Let's continue to read the chat. See what people are saying. A lot of stuff about power play in there. I see a couple things about Corey Perry. I'm not going to say anything about it until we know what happened. I think there's no one who should be saying stuff about it other than the Chicago Blackhawks. That's the team that should be telling us what's going on, what happened there. And if they don't, then they don't. Yeah. All right, continue to read. Devin Sr., 5 regulation wins so far is crazy. Agreed. I will pull this up for you guys so you know. The Maple Leafs have as many regulation wins this season as the San Jose Sharks. It's not great. I know a win's a win, but it's more about like process, as we're saying, than it is necessarily results. And the process hasn't been that great, which is why people have been negative on this team. And now you're going to sit here with 5 regulations wins in your pocket. It doesn't feel that good. And the fact that you have as many as the San Jose Sharks as well, like these are telling things of kind of the level of play on a consistency basis. It's just, you watch teams that kind of luck into wins in spots where, here's a perfect example. Last season, the Minnesota Vikings were 11-0 in one possession games. 11-0. There's people on both sides of the coin who kept saying, hey, it's a good thing to be able to find ways to win these games. And there is an argument to be made about that. And I would say that there's an argument to be made about how it's good, about how the Leafs are finding ways to win these games. But the thing that I would push back against on this is the Vikings ended up getting exposed for having a lot of those wins, if not all of those wins, be fraudulent wins, be lucky wins, be undeserving wins, where they had bad metrics that led to them just getting lucky, or the other team playing poorly in situational spots, or not matching up correctly against things. So I'll save this because there is super chat. Joe says, wins don't matter unless they're regulation. Good teams go to OT with other good teams. Finding a way to win in OT is just as important as reg. Like, I kind of disagree, and it's because just some of these has been waiting until the third period to finally show up. Like, watch some of these games back that they go into OT. Some of them have been waiting till the third period to show up, or you don't show up for the first 20 or the first 40, and now you're in a hole and you're chasing back. And guess what? When it comes playoff time, the ability to chase back that consistently and claw back like we saw it last year in the playoffs against Florida, where you're down 1 goal, you're down 2 goals, to be able to chip away at those as the playoffs go on becomes harder and harder and harder. So it's not that it's impossible to do, but it's just much less likely to happen. And then on the flip side of it is that we've watched this team now blow leads in the third period, or blow leads that started in the second period, that have pushed or have allowed the other team to push back, and we don't see push back or resistance from the Leafs against that. Then it's a tie game. Then it goes to OT, and then you get lucky, you win one in OT, or lucky is the wrong word, but you get an opportunity to win in overtime. You do win in overtime. My point being is that these are not sustainable ways to win games. They're not sustainable ways to win games. And I think that while some of this happens where you say, yeah, they've got wins, look at what happened in those. Break some of those down. Break down how and why these wins occurred if you're truly happy with the 60-minute effort. Because while Joe's saying good teams can go to OT against good teams, or they can even go to OT against not great teams, I do agree with that. But did they play a 60-minute effort and just ended up going to OT? Or did they show up in the third period and get lucky to tie it up too? Did they blow it in the third period? That's kind of my thought. Marissa explains it all. Is this a Leafs channel? I'm new. Yes, this is a Leafs channel. Mostly we'll cover some other stuff here on this channel as well, but this is primarily Leafs. Think that I'll cover some of the big stories happening in the NHL or some of the big trades and rumors and other things like that. But yeah, this is a Leafs channel. So welcome. Thank you very much. Hopefully you hit that subscribe button. Hopefully you hit the like button on the stream here as well, Marissa. But that is, yes, this is a Leafs channel. Yeah, there's a lot of arguing going on. I'm not going to get into the Marner stuff. This is what I'll say about Marner's game here tonight. Kudos to him for continuing on and playing that game. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I'll say I don't necessarily think that he broke his jaw because maybe I'll be proved wrong, but like my assumption of it would be probably didn't. At least not like a full jaw break. The only reason I say that is just because it's game 20 of the regular season. You've played Mitch Marner 25 minutes a night so far to this point. He hasn't had a great start to the season. What the hell would be the point of forcing him back out there with a broken jaw after 8 minutes of the first period? You know what I mean? It probably hurts like hell. And all the credit in the world goes to him for coming back out and saying, I'm going to play. Like, you get a bunch of stitches in your chin. You throw the cage on. You say, I'll go out there and play. Kudos to him. I still don't... Look, I'm going to get crucified for it. I still don't necessarily think he played the greatest game after. But tonight's one of those nights where I'm just going to say, fuck it. Like, this guy came out, he worked his bag off for the rest of the game with a cage on after getting hit in the face with the shot. Credit to him for doing that. Credit to him. That's gutsy to come back in. That's gutsy to come back in. Super chat here as well. Joe saying, you and I agree because I'd like to see, Joe Hill that is, again, thank you, Joe, says, you and I agree because I'd like to see more regulation wins, but for now, there's 60 games left to figure it out. AM and JT and Marner all need goals. Yeah, like we want to see more. I think the point with Leafs fans to this right now and where you're at with 20 games and why this is probably the loudest first 20 games we've seen is because of the process. And because everyone's sitting here saying, yeah, you might have X number of wins and X number of points, but this has not been a pretty start to the season. And it feels like... It just feels like all of the things that we've seen from this team for the last 7 years are all just showing up here again. And yeah, you have the same record or same points or same whatever as you've had last year and the year before that. And I get that. And I get that those things pop up. And I understand that people are bringing those records back up. My frustration, which I believe a lot of other people share at this point, is that it's like you're sitting down in a movie and you've watched the same first 20 minutes and you've seen it 3 years in a row now. They keep telling you it's a new movie and you get excited and you say, this one's going to be good. So it's going to have a good ending. And then the movie starts the same. Like at some point in the 7th year that I go and watch the movie, I'm probably not going to believe anymore that the end of the movie is going to be any better. So the thought process for myself, and I think a lot of other people going into this year, was like, show us a different first 20 minutes. Yeah, like Super Sim saying, Groundhog Day, yeah. So I think for me and a lot of other people, you go into this one and you say, like, show me a different first 20 minutes. And then maybe I'll believe that the ending of the movie will be different. Yeah, BRGR. Will there be a director's cut released at some point? Maybe. Maybe. I mean, Joe, I understand that you don't. I know that there's other people in here who don't and are very frustrated with like breaking down things that happen in some of these wins. I get it. Not intentionally trying to be like pessimistic about it. More just I'm seeing the same shit. So let's not fool ourselves. Let's not fool ourselves is kind of my feel. All right. Spend games. Did we lose again? No. Won the game in a wild way. Phenom. Leafs are mid-pack in standings, 69 goals for, 67 goals against. This is supposed to be much more than an average team. It's time for a trade to bolster defense and kickstart a hot streak. The second part can be up for debate, whatever people think there. I would agree as well. I think that there needs to be something to kind of kick them going and get them into gear for the remainder of the season here. I think that belongs on D. I think that that's something that they've long been missing. I think that Phenom's original point is where most people are kind of at with this Leafs team right now, and it's like this is supposed to be much more than an average team. Again, I look at the Bostons, Vegas, Colorados. So I look at them and think about the way that they've started this season and then wonder, why can't the Leafs do that? All right. Joe Hill, fooling myself, sure, bud. Well, I mean, Joe, it's not a personal attack at you. The point is, what is it to make you feel like this? What is it to make anyone feel like this season is different or this season would play out differently? It's mostly the same group. They have the same character issues. It's the same coach. There's goaltending concerns as well. The defense hasn't necessarily improved from last year. The one thing people really look at with these guys and hope that they bring differently each year is not a massive change to the team. It's a change to the mentality and the identity of the team and the way that they play or show up. And it feels like that hasn't changed. So that is why I sit here and say, I can't be in a position to say, oh, like this team is different. Oh, Marissa explains it all, says, okay, thanks, I'm a Panthers fan. Oh, well, thanks for clarifying. Well, Marissa, I'll tell you this. In Leafs chats, especially in this one, you're going to be fine because Leafs fans will not fight with you. They will fight with each other first. So you will be welcome here as well. Also, shout out my guy Jimmy B there, Jim Bianchini. First 20 minutes says it all. This team does not have it. New coach and retool needed. Jim, welcome to the Third Man In channel. I'm glad you found me here. It's been a while since I've seen my guy Jimmy B. But Jim saying first 20 minutes says it all. This team does not have it. I would disagree with the last part in terms of new coach and retool needed. I don't necessarily know that a retool is needed. I feel like maybe a new coach, a new voice might be. Again, though, I don't know if that lets the players off the hook. But yeah, the first 20 minutes of this game was pretty pathetic, and I sat through that just thinking, I don't know what's different. I don't know what's different. So, yeah. Mario in the building. Oh, yeah. A lot of questions about the power play there still. What else do I have here for tonight? Oh, a couple things I liked. Oh, actually, before I get to the thing that I like, first of all, absolute fucking joke that Max Domi gets a double penalty call there. Matthew Tkachuk could take his stick, put it up Domi's hoop, and pull it out of his mouth, and he's not going to get a penalty. And yet Domi goes in there and does something that every single player around the league does, and yet he's getting 4 minutes for that. I would be disgusted with Sheldon Keefe if he's mad at Max Domi for that 4-minute penalty. I would be disgusted with Sheldon Keefe if he disciplines him or has any type of conversation with him, because that would just be absolutely pathetic of Sheldon Keefe to bring the hammer down on Max Domi for getting the 4 minutes there. That is no different than any other team does. Any other players do. If Matthew Tkatchuk was the one who did that, he's probably walking away from that whole thing with no penalty. So for him to have that 4-minute is just a joke. I continue to say it. I try to say it as minimal as possible because it just gets to a point where it is just the same shit every single time. But reffing in the NHL is fucking horrendous. Even that too many men penalty, I can kind of see where it came from. But realistically, brutal call. Brutal call, like on the too many men. The Domi, okay, you want to give him the call and the cross check to the back? Sure, let it be. You're going to call the 2 minutes. That follow-up where Bennett comes in and hits him after the whistle, Domi turns around and gives him a jab. Pathetic display of refereeing by those fucking dopes out there for them to call that. The NHL reffing has just completely fallen off a cliff, and I don't know whether it's just because we get to see it more with all these camera angles and with all the review and the slow-mo and all that stuff, but these guys need to drastically improve because every night it feels like we're just watching some type of ref show. That was just egregious. I would think the same way going the other way. Like the the high stick call that got called when Gregor got hit, first of all, it just should have been caught in real time. Second of all, when it wasn't caught in real time, how the hell do you just find a way to go back and give it 4 minutes? Like, I know Leafs fans are going to be like happy that we got that. I get it. I was happy that we got that, but that is insane. That is insane. To be able to just jump back and say, oh, this thing we didn't call a penalty, this thing that we missed in real time, in that instance, we have to go back and we have to hand 4 minutes to. Panthers fans have every right in the world to be pissed off about that. It got missed. You got lucky. It happens. It's in full speed. Let it go. The ones that I think should be able to be under review are like dirty, egregious hits. Is the guy you're calling a high stick? Is the guy bleeding? Is he not bleeding? Puck over glass, I think, is important because if you're gonna call that, you better get that one right. Like, you're gonna call that thing in the playoffs. You're gonna call that one in the Stanley Cup. That's one I would sit here and genuinely hope is going to be called right, because if my team or my favorite player, or if I was playing and that got called on me and it was a bad call because it never hit a stick it hit a stick when I flicked it and it went out, and that they called it that it didn't hit a stick and it went straight out, and then I had a costly goal scored against me or scored against my favorite team, I would lose my mind. Those are ones I can understand. If you miss something like the high stick in the pace of play, like what happens if 5 minutes went by and nobody saw? Or what if happens if 5 minutes went by? Like, did they go back 5 minutes? Like, Gregor could have got high sticked, skated off the ice, and then play continued without a whistle for another 4 minutes. Like, they'd just go back because they're like, oh, like, we missed one there. Like, they only went and reviewed that because the whistle went. I don't know. That was insane to me. That was insane. Like, the other thing is, watch the Ottawa-Florida game last night. Maybe the refs were told, like, you're not going to let this happen tonight. Keep it under control. But watch that game tonight, and then watch tonight. It's very different officiating. Insane. Insane. I think that the Domi Bennett fight as well, by the way, Bennett won 100%. Shout out to Domi for fighting and going him there. Pretty of a relevant fight, truthfully. It didn't really like have any response to anything. It was just Domi being like, F you. Bennett turns around, says F you. I don't mind it. It's fine. You want to go the guy, you go the guy. You got even minutes there. Nobody's at a disadvantage. You take Sam Bennett out of the play, off the ice for 5 minutes. It's a good trade-off for the Leafs. It's a good trade-off for Domi. I'm fine with it. I'm completely fine with it. And then the Leafs kind of were buzzing after that as well. You see a guy go out there and have that type of energy, have that type of fight and pushback. I'm fine with it. I think that it's something like that's the shit that I think this team was missing a little bit. A guy who can play, contribute, create plays, fits into your bottom six, fast, speedy. Like he brings all the different aspects that you could probably hope for. Feisty, fights, down, works for me. All right, let's get to my play of the game and some honorable mentions. I think there's some good ones, but before I do that, I want to also remind people in the chat to send away yours. I want to know what everyone else thinks. I want to see what everyone else's plays of the game are. But even before we get to that, if you haven't already and you're new to the channel, if you're watching live, if you're watching after the fact, however you consume it, please hit that like button on this video, on this stream. Subscribe here to the channel. I do appreciate all the support. We're trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. You can see it up on the screen. I guess it's here, bottom, this corner. 776. We're trying to get to 1,000 here now. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate everyone coming over. 1,000, we unlock some more stuff. 1,000 subscribers, you can do more things with the channel memberships. I'm going to try to unroll a whole plan here so that we get like proper stuff for you guys at the channel membership access, because I want to make sure that you guys get value out of it. I don't ever want to ask you to pay for things. I just here to bring good content, and I appreciate that. But at the 1,000 mark, or I guess even right now, we can unroll some channel memberships where you guys can get access to some other stuff, but I don't want to do just stickers. We'll figure out some other stuff, figure out what you guys might like, what some other things you guys might be interested in. But yeah, like let me know. We'll try to unroll that, but hit that subscribe button, like the stream. Let's get to our play of the game. All right, play of the game. Play of the game for me here tonight is going to be, it's going to be the Noah Gregor goal, but like I have some other ones that fit in, I think, or are very good honorable mentions. So let me explain why the Noah Gregor one is my play of the game. First and foremost, it's a subtle piece of it. It's a under the radar part. I'm happy as hell Ryan Reeves was on the ice for that goal. This guy is taking so much heat, catching so much flack. I felt bad about it the way that Friday game ended, because he scores the third goal to make it 3-1. You now got a 2-goal cushy lead against the Chicago Blackhawks, a game you should close out. Not necessarily in line to be the game winner at that point in time, but then all of a sudden it's 3-2. Reeves could have had the winner, and then it just gets wiped away. You know what I mean? Like that's one where Ryan Reeves could have had like the hero moment. He scores a first goal in a long time. He's been taking heat. He's not on the ice for goals for. He's only on the ice for goals against. That's the spot, right? And then it gets taken away. I'm happy as hell that this guy was able to be on the ice here tonight. He's not the greatest player. We obviously know why he's signed. He's signed to help this locker room. He's signed to help the character, the culture of this team. But you don't want his on-ice play to just be detrimental. He had some good shifts here tonight. I think he did some decent things. He wasn't really a problem out there. And then for him to be on the ice for that goal, I was pretty happy about that. I was like, hey, you know what? Like, that's a small piece. It's not like he contributed to the goal, but he got to be out there for it, so thank God. But let me explain truly why that one is my play of the game. Noah Gregor has legitimately proven to be a very, very, very good find and very, very good signing by Brad Treliving this offseason. Bringing that kid in on the PTO was an absolute steal for this Leafs team and a great pickup, a great find by Treliving to get Noah Gregor here, because he showed in the preseason that he had some grit, He had some speed. He had a little bit of skill and ability to get to the net and maybe find a way to score some goals. But then to start the season, I believe it was actually game 1 of the year, he showed us that he actually has a pretty good shot too. And with his speed, it's kind of elusive because he can just wheel down the wall and get a shot far side, short side like he did here tonight, and kind of create opportunities, whether that be him scoring directly or creating it with rebounds, creating it with guys driving the net on the other side. I was really impressed with him, and that goal, very nice. Like, chef's kiss. Steals the puck at the point, gets through, beats the defenseman, goes in, drives past the defenseman that's chasing him back, and as he's cutting across, goes short side, top corner, past his shoulder. Like, very, very impressed with Noah Gregor and that goal that he scored there, because I think he's been very, very good to start this year. It's not like he's going to make crazy impacts, but as a guy who can play on your fourth line, to put up a couple goals, have a couple points, maybe be a little bit of a threat out there when he's on the ice, happy to see. And then, by the way, the goal that he scored in the shootout, holy fuck, like, that is a goal. You come down, I said it before to my roommates before that happened, I'm like, this guy's going to coast in here, down the left side, and then go short side, top corner. And of course, he goes out, comes back in, top corner. Beautiful shot. He's clearly got a very good shot, pretty accurate. It's just kind of the other parts of his game where it's not 100% there or the most consistent, because obviously with a shot like that and ability to find the back of the net or that speed, you'd think this guy could be like a 40-goal scorer, but it's just not there because there's other pieces missing. That is my play of the game. Honorable mentions. I've got a couple that I think are worthy of saying here. There was a Joseph Woll save. Trying to remember exactly what it was. I think it was in the second period. No, it was in the third period. Coming across, makes a save, sprawling out to the side with the glove. That was one for me. I'm blanking on who it was that was doing it, that made the move across. Third period. This is where the one that really stood out to me was Morgan Rielly had a couple plays, 2 specifically. I think he deserves some credit here tonight. First and foremost, there was a play, Rielly skating back on a 2-on-1, makes a great diving play, perfectly timed, perfect position to get a breakup play in where he breaks up a pass on a 2-on-1, where that would have been a 2-on-1, perfect backdoor, kind of tap in, end the game, Panthers up, Leafs even tough hill to climb up to finish out that third period. That's the first one. And then the second one, which was more impressive to me, was the one on Stenlund. Stenlund gets a break. He's basically in alone. Rielly rips back, realizes he's going to beat him with speed, and to avoid taking a penalty, avoid doing something dumb, and to make sure that he broke up the play, he jumps to the side where the stick is, and you can see him timing it perfectly to get into position to break up the stick and not even allow a shot. No trip, no hook, no hold, nothing. He just gets into the perfect spot, driving back. This is even later on after the diving breakup play, and he makes that perfect defensive save. I think Morgan Rielly had a pretty good start to this season. I think he deserves some credit, especially going into this year. He loses the power play job. Now, mind you, I'm not going to pretend like I'm the biggest Morgan Rielly PP1 quarterback fan in the world, but I think he's had a really, really strong start to the season. Kudos to him for doing that, because he recognized how well he plays in the playoffs every year and how in the regular season it's not 100% there. Well, he found a way to kind of get it going from the start of the season this year, and hopefully that helps in the playoffs where maybe it just goes into a different gear. Maybe it's Conn Smythe, Morgan Rielly this year when it comes to the playoffs. All right. That's it for my play of the game. I do want to remind people, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. I do appreciate the support. Put a poll in the chat. I mean, have you hit the like button already? Please hit it if you're here. Thank you for the support. We're at 70 likes now. I mean, if you guys can get to 100, I will go more smelling salts to get through the end of this, but you got to get to 100. So if you haven't already, hit the like. Let's get to the last thing here. It is a Tuesday night, so I know people have to get up and go to work and everything in the morning, like myself. So we've been live here for about an hour. Try to wrap this thing up here shortly. But before we can do that, let's get to our grades of the game.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
All right, grades of the game. Fire them away in the chat. I want to know how many, where you guys are at, what you think about tonight, how you would grade it out. Mario Kart says W. Wow, we're getting a bunch of different ones. Grade of the game tonight for me, it's kind of where I've been for the last little while. I might be even a little bit high on it. Nah, I'll go C+. Actually, no, I'll go C. The real reason why it even gets that high and why they have the opportunity to win this game here tonight is because of Joseph Woll. Joseph Woll was incredible. Held them in it in the first period. You still didn't really have much of a showing for guys like Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares. Still not the greatest night for them. I mean, the goal comes from Noah Gregor. The shootout winner comes from Noah Gregor. Like, if that guy's not getting the belt tonight, I don't know what you have to do to get the belt. Very good night for him. But outside of that, when I look at these other guys, it just wasn't the best. And you see another bench minor penalty for... I mean, you see another bench minor for too many men that comes, in my opinion, from the coaching staff. I don't know if it's Keefe. I don't know if it's his guys. But, God, and not having to watch that again, watching that pathetic first 20 minutes. Like, guys, let's be honest. No matter what you think about tonight's win, whether you're happy with the fact that they won, whether you're not happy with the fact that they won, whether you're not happy with how they're played or whatever, I think everyone can admit that the start of this game tonight was a pathetic, pathetic effort. There is no other way to put it other than that was a pathetic way to start this game. You had Florida coming in off a back-to-back. You had a couple days off. You lost both games on the weekend to lesser teams. You should be ready to jump here tonight against a team that eliminated you from the playoffs. Like, you know what I mean? Show up and show some fucking balls to start this game, and you just didn't. You just weren't there. That is frustrating. That's a pathetic way to start this game. That drags this down as well. And then it gradually built throughout the rest of the game. I would agree with that. It didn't fully get back. It didn't fully get to, hey, this is 100% full throttle. Great way to close this game out. But it built, and you had an opportunity here tonight to take advantage of a tired Florida team that wore themselves out last night. I'm going with a C. Most of that positive grade goes to Joseph Woll for the night he put together. The impressive performance of Noah Gregor. Outside of that, not overly impressed with this team to start, truthfully. That's where I'm at. Leafs fans, hockey fans, NHL fans, whatever you are, if you're not a Leafs fan, thank you. Thank you for the support here on this channel. Thank you for following me over. I do appreciate it. Mark Daigle, what's up? Thank you. He says, hey, Zach, there you are. Good to see you after a win, man. Good to see you as well. Thank you for the support with everyone. If you haven't already, again, I'll ask you one final time. Hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel. Turn on notifications to get notified every single time that we go live. I do appreciate that. But thank you very much for the support. That'll do it for tonight's stream. This was Game number 20 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, winning 2-1. Am I tripping? Like, am I forgetting the score? Every time I say it, it feels like, yeah, 2-1 in a shootout. And what was a weird game for this Leafs team, losing the shootout and then actually winning it after because they had to come back out on the ice. Strange one there, but thank you to everyone who tuned in. Greatly appreciated. Leafs win this one 2-1 in a shootout. Go to 11-6-3 on the season. As always, keep moving.